Welcome to the AME Food Safety Show. Today's topic on this segment is a little lighthearted. It's to cover the other segments, which are a little more intense. Today's topic, cell phone usage and lifestyle. Let's begin with our slide presentation. As you look at this graphic, what do you see? You see a very typical illustration of what's going on in today's society. People in front of a meal, playing with their cell phones. Are they really doing anything life important? Maybe they're answering an email from their employer. Maybe they're reviewing their life history results from a food test or a blood test. I doubt it. People are doing very minor actions during the course of eating when they should be concentrating on food, what they're eating, how they're eating, when they're eating. What we see in this graphic are two adults looking at their cell phones, ostensibly texting each other and asking them, "How are you doing? How was your day?" The other answer is good. And yours? It's humorous, but it's reflective of the activity of modern adults. I am crying out to people right now. Take a look at yourselves. Is this how you live? Is this how you want to live? Next slide. What I'm seeing, and again, these are my reflections, is less physical movement as a result of cell phone activity. This cartoon graphic is still illustrative of what children are doing. I see many children with cell phones. I see them less physically active as they are gearing down, focusing on cell phone usage, texting, pictures, other activities which restrict their physical movement. The fact is, and you've heard me before on this, the equation of life when it comes to food is consumption minus activity equals storage. If you have weight issues with your children, look at their physical movement related to the cell phone usage. If you think I'm being ridiculous, look and think on your own and say, you know what, Andy, you're wrong. My children are wonderful. Or you might think, on the alternative, yes, as I look at their physical movement, it's less because of the use of the cell phone. Next slide. When you look at your cell phone, what do you do with it in the evening when you should be resting? Our physical bodies require rest and regeneration. If you have your cell phone in a position, which I have it right next to my head in case, because I have many clients that will call me in the middle of the night with emergencies, but I do not have text message, email, and other notifications on to waken my sleep periods. This lack of appropriate sleep will result in health challenges, as this cartoon illustrates. What is the issue? The issue is you are not allowing your body appropriate time and rest to recover from the day's activities. My suggestion is that you review your use of cell phone ties during rest periods. These are designated rest periods. Next slide, please. This very humorous and yet very sad and very realistic cartoon graphic shows an experience I personally have had. I worked for a company in Silicon Valley which required constant updating of a client contact database. There was one of our workers in a different state which was called on the cell phone while she was driving. In that particular job, we had a lot of what they call windshield time, when you're driving from one location to the other. That manager asked her to update the internet database on our client. She thought her time was valuable, so she opened the laptop using the cell phone's hotspot and updated the database while she was driving. Well, tragically, she drove off the road, horribly died in a ravine. Her body was located 2 weeks later. People couldn't find her. So her death was a direct result of those two technologies. Actually, three technologies. One, the cell phone. Two, the hotspot. And three, the internet database updating our client approaches. That was a direct cause or linkage to her death because she lost control of the vehicle. What is the issue for you and your use of this technology? My opinion is that while a driver is engaged in driving, the cell phone should not be engaged, touched, or used. Here's the challenge. I use the cell phone. I have it mounted on my dashboard. I keep it charged. I monitor it and monitor the road. That is a big mistake. I'm reviewing that in my life. My hope is that you will review it in yours. Passengers are free to do whatever they'd like, but the actual principal driver needs to focus. Next slide, please. Distracted food consumption. This is a direct result, not of curiosity, but of this technology, which allows access to virtually an unlimited amount of information, which is not going to help you get through that meal. As you see in this graphic cartoon, people have extraneous thoughts. They immediately access that cell phone. Conversation stops, focus on your food stops. It becomes a distracted food consumption event. In my opinion, you're focusing on your consumption of food and the people that you're with, you will enjoy life much more than extraneous questions that are raised. I have them. I find it to be very rude when others do it to me. I find it to be very interesting when I do it to others. I would suggest that all take their phone when you're eating with a group of people that you find desirable to immediately put it in a sleep mode, or at a minimum in a mute mode. Next slide. Would anybody like to decrease the level of stress they have in their lives? I'm going to make this suggestion based on this cartoon and my own life decisions. That is, when you go to your home and you're living your life ostensibly, place the cell phone in a fixed location and leave it there. Why? Because you will be constantly looking for it. It'll increase stress in your life and you will have more misery. Next slide. So these are my suggestions for slide use. Oh, strike that. I have to go back one. It's people nowadays are not actively participating in the use of cell phone to help others. What they're doing is recording and publishing and seeking some sort of twisted fame in events. Some of these activities are helpful, others I question. Next slide. I only have 3 minutes and I want to spend a few minutes on this particular viewing of this slide. These are my suggestions, and you can poo-poo them, you can deny them, but these are my suggestions based on our previous discussion. 1, mute the phone during meals. You'll find that your attention spans, your enjoyment of the food will be much more, your digestion will be much better. Mute the phone during physical activity. Many people will mute them during gym time. Others will put them completely away, like my wife, she puts it in the car. Mute the phone during sleep and rest time. You'll find that your life will be much more enjoyable because you've planned for rest. Mute the phone during driving time. This should be obvious, and actually in California, there is a fine. It ranges around $500 because my partner paid it the other day. Rest the phone during your home time. You'll find that your family time will be much better. It's a very precious time of the day. You need to interact with your own family. Increase your social interaction and not your phone use. Actually engage, talk to people directly, ask them to put their phone down when you're talking to them. Ask them to put it on a mute basis. When you go to the movie theater, what's one of the first things they ask you to do is to mute your phone. These two last issues on the bottom of this page, I have been particularly disturbed by young women who have the habit of placing that cell phone in a very intimate area near their bodies. This slide will show you that area. I don't want to talk about it on my segment, but I do want to highlight that that's an issue. Now, I have counterexamples. Somebody will say, Andy, it's okay. I saw a man on TV talking on the phone and he caught a baseball at a game. That's wonderful. I hope you find that very rewarding. But my closing remarks are the following. Cell phones are an amazing innovation. You have access to incredible databases. You can perform a lot of different activities with applications. But it does affect your bodies. Your bodies run on food. Your bodies run on rest. Your bodies run on less stress. You, as an individual, will enjoy life more if you use your cell phone wisely, and you won't die in a car accident if you don't use the cell phone during your driving experiences. Thank you very much. I look forward to the next segment.